Doctor says, send your father to the hospital. He needs to go to the hospital. They don't have admitting privileges, the doctor, my dad's doctor, to the hospital. So he has to just go to the ER. Since we're not going to drive and deliver him and sit in the ER, we're going to call the ambulance. But we're going to do it whenever he says he's ready to do it, which is going to be today. He's got to get himself prepared. He's got something wrong with him. Whenever I was young, but already born, his balls twisted up. They didn't attach to the sac. This creates a weird. He's got a gasket issue because he had got crushed in an accident, and they didn't fix the hernia correct, and it's caused all kinds of weird problems in the way that the pressure goes in your body. I listened to a story in the morning, and it was a guy that had some kidney stones. He had passed before, but he was going back in the hospital for them, and they got stuck in the tube that goes from the kidney to the bladder and got an infection. And when they broke it up, he got sepsis and died. But he did make it back because he was telling the story. Obviously, we don't get stories firsthand from the dead like that yet. Sorry, I can't report on that. But he had a near death experience and left his body. He said he did escape the hospital going through the fucking all the floors. He said he went straight through the floors up into the blue sky. And then I started listening to Allison Cole talk about somebody else being in space, feeling for the star they couldn't see, but could feel. I haven't finished hers either, so I'm two for two. I'm two for oh. I don't have any complete stories because they are really one story. Our story. Our story. So I am kind of worried about him. I don't like having to do that, but I've gained a little more experience in this. One time I went back there and his eyes were open and he had bloody foam coming out of his mouth and his arm was going up and then it would slam down. It was doing like he was, they call that aspiration. That's not like inspiration. That's no, it's aspiration. My mom was a nurse. She knew a lot of the technical terms. I do know a lot of the inside biology because I've been running around in my head thinking about my biology, different biology parts. Because I don't want to have this wound that he has here. His doctor suggested that he may put on a colostomy bag to get out the. He's got some stones in his. I want to say pancreas, and it's not it. It's that organ that we have that we don't. No, it's not that. I anyway, like a. What'd you call that other stone you had? You have not the kidney stone. What's the other stone? He's acting like I'm not talking to him. That's another test I had to test. What's the other stones that you have? Not kidney. What are they called? Gallstones. Okay, that's I couldn't remember. Gallstones. I remember that, but I was like, "Where's that at?" In your gallbladder? We have a atrophied gall. Maybe we have a. Maybe people have a gallbladder. There's another. I'm thinking it's the gallbladder. It doesn't have a use, but it's still there. It's sort of like a extra organ. Don't pay no attention to me. I've had some dreams about this though, in my own body. Some of it last night too, because it involved the school. The school was actually some sort of college class of medical, because the school had the hospital. They were attached to each other in my dream. Very weird shit was going on. It's very weird. And today's the last day for his wave, which is my ex, the Blue Storm. So He's had a lot of stuff happen to him. They say that if you have, it's called tor- tor- tortuous spermatic cord, and if you have that, the pain is equivalent to a woman having a baby. That's what the doctor told him. They were trying to give him Thorazine, and he attacked the doctor. He attacked the doctor and got Demerol, which would be what I would want. But he's going to have to go to the hospital. He's not been able to move. He's got something with, it's got to be lower than his stomach. He had a bad ulcer, but he hasn't had the heartburn. The ulcers give you heartburn. Um, so he may have some ulcers that are in the sub. Uh, he did say that it was in his duodenum. That's the tube that connects your stomach to your intestines. The small intestines are the ones that you have at the start. I think it's small intestines and it's large intestines. And then it's butthole, and then it's to the outhouse, and then to the ocean. I'm trying to be in a good mood of it because I have this house call doctors United United Care House Call with the K. You see, these people brought these weird nurses, and when I had my disc for the Earth, because I had the weird elemental tools that I made myself, I had a wooden disc that had the hexagram in it, the circle around it, and it was all subscribed. It was very nice. It was X in it, painted. But I sat on it and I broke a piece off like this, and I had to glue it back on. I super glued or wood glued it back on, and it was together. I've since destroyed these tools for the making process of new ones. But this is how it affected the reality, because these things came not there very far after that, and they were all. This is like 1/4. Well, this is 1/4 less of the size of the full diameter of the other one, and there's four of them, and they each have this, and there's no explanation for why they have this weird piece of other wood or sanded wood like this on there, the exact same as my disc. What the fuck is that? Programming reality. It was my disc. It was what I care about. The monetary and physical reality body. So there's an interesting informing that process through the logos that come for these things, because the last ones they sent was spatulas, and they had a bag, and it's the dark color blue for the third eye. So I feel pretty good about it. I don't feel upset. I feel like he's going to get what he needs when he goes to the doctor, but I feel like he's got a problem that he's had inside because of the dominoing of problems. Once you get a fucked up, like not having your nuts, not that's your lowest drops in your balls drop in your sack, and then they would connect to your sack. But if they spun around and twisted up, I was like, do they not normally connect to your sack, Father? He says, well, I got in a lot of fights when I was a kid. They were always kicking me in my nuts. I'm like, that's true. He could have unlodged those son of a bitches. But being a man, I'm telling you, having your balls twisted like that, free able to twist inside, that's got to be incredibly painful. That's hell. That's horrible. It caused him to lose one of his nuts. Is it one nut? This house of nuts has three. There are three nuts in this house, and two of them are us. Who's the third nut? You are. You are.